Hi everyone, this is an 840 series millimeter wave source quick start guide. This source operates from 92 to 95 gigahertz with output power of 1 watt. There's an inbuilt ×8 multiplier to control the frequency using the software on the computer. This is a quick guide on powering up the source device and using the associated software to change frequency settings between 92 and 95 gigahertz. Our source control software is already installed on the laptop with the device. We will be running National Instruments QuickSyn software to control your source. For the purpose of the needs here, we'll only be discussing the main tab section for operating MI-Wave's 840 series millimeter wave source. Any other questions? Please refer to our sales engineering staff to address your needs. Power-up procedures. A quick warning before turning the power on. Make sure your load connected to RF output port can handle output power of 1 to 2 watts. If not, please use appropriate attenuator or coupler to protect your instrument. For example, if you want to connect it to a power sensor, it needs to be connected using a proper attenuator or coupler that the power sensor can handle. Let's get started. Connect the AC electrical input and turn the device on using the back panel switch. The source default output power frequency is set to 94 GHz with output power of 30 dBm. Let's connect the back panel. Connect the source from the back panel USB to the laptop COM3 or COM4 USB port. For this example, we will be connecting via COM4. Let's launch the laptop software. On the laptop, click on MMW source icon to initialize the software. Once the software is initialized, it will be set to the default frequency of 94 GHz or 11750 MHz, as it has an internal ×8 multiplier and is set using internal reference source. Okay, so let's go ahead and launch the software. And this is the screen that will show up initially. We can change the COM port by simply clicking on the QuickSyn module address drop-down box. And that is listed right. The way you would select the COM3 or COM4 ports would be right at the QuickSyn module address drop-down box right here. We're connected to COM4, so we can go ahead and hit OK. And we'll see the software initialize. And there we go. And once it's initialized, it's going right to the default frequency. Once the software is initialized, it will be set to the default frequency of 94 GHz or 11750 MHz, as it has an internal ×8 multiplier and is set using an internal reference source. Let's go over the main tab control features to control your source. There's an RF output on-off toggle in the software that lets us turn the RF output on or off. Similarly, you can turn on or off the internal reference output at 100 MHz using the on-off button here. If you want to use an external reference source to lock the source, you simply need to select that here. In the back panel, the reference in should be 10 MHz at 0 to +10 dBm, typical +5 dBm. Okay, now I'll show you how to change the output frequency between 92 to 95 GHz by changing the input frequency of 11500 MHz to 11875 MHz with 1 Hz resolution. For example, we're going to change this to 92 GHz. So we'll type in 11500 and hit enter. And there we have set the frequency to 92 GHz. Default power on settings. Currently by default, as we have seen, the unit powers to 94 GHz on power up. If you want, you can change the default state of the source on power on to any other frequency between 92 to 95 GHz. For example, let's change the default power on state to 95 GHz. First, we type in 11875 MHz into the software and hit enter. Next, we click on Save as Default. Then right after, we click on Recall Default. This will set the source default power on frequency. Now, every time you power cycle, the device will start at 95 GHz or 11875 MHz until you manually change it again.